in for a minute. My name is Catherine O'Hare, and I'm the Vice President and Compliance Officer with Michigan Association of Recovery Residences. Those of you that are on, if you could please, if you haven't already, have your camera on. It's nice to see who we're talking to. And this meeting is for you. So we're going to start off with Jeff Van Treese. Jeff, go ahead and introduce yourself and what do you have to offer?
I have very little to offer, but we're working on it. Yeah, just a general discussion of what's going on with MARR. We partnered with the Fletcher Group, which is a nonprofit out of Kentucky, 2 PhD researchers conducted a study, and we had about just under 40% that responded to the studies. And it paints 2 pictures, one of which is, gee, you folks don't have enough money. You don't have enough money for capital costs. You don't have enough money for operational costs. The whole industry just doesn't have enough money. The other part that I found was interesting was that for every dollar invested by the state or federal government in the state of Michigan in recovery residences, the return on investment is over $80 over a 15-year time frame. And that's evidence-based. That's not Uncle Wally or Uncle Jeff telling you this. This is 2 University of Kentucky PhD individuals who have done this work. So over a 15-year time frame, for every dollar invested, you get $86 back. And that doesn't count the value, the subjective value of having somebody in your family in recovery from an SUD. And so with these type of evidence-based, gee, it works. Why does it work? We can show that through RecCap. Gee, there's a great return on our money. How do we know that? Because we've got some evidence-based scientists, researchers telling us that. This gives us the opportunity to go to Lansing and Washington and ask for some additional funding. So that's what I'm geared up to try to do. And we're going to start that off next week at the UFAM rally in Lansing. And for those of you that are going to be there, you'll see a MARR booth. And you might see my shiny smiling face down there for a bit. So stop in and say hi. I see a great opportunity over the next 6 to 12 months to get some additional funding in with the state and do some other supportive efforts. On a non-recovery residence note, but it's all recovery related, we've been working, we being the MARR staff, have been working with the same staff that brought together from NAR, the same people that put together the NAR 28 module virtual cloud-based training. They're putting together roughly a 15-hour module-based virtual interactive training for operators of recovery community centers. So for those of you that might have an interest in dealing with a joining or starting a recovery community center, a recovery community organization, there's something called the United Alliance for Recovery Community Organizations. It's UARCO for short. And they're out of Virginia, and they're the first entity organization that came up with any type of standards for recovery community centers. So we're trying to bring that here to Michigan. We're also working with Dr. Best out of RecCap, Recovery ROI group, to come up with a RecCap version that could be used not in a recovery residence, but in a recovery community center. And the thought there is that people in Michigan seeking help with recovery, whether they come into a recovery residence and use RECCAP as a system, or whether they come into a recovery community center and use RECCAP as a system, they're going to be able to access that, provided they stay in Michigan, for as long as they want to and as long as they need to. So those are the things that are affecting MARR on a national level and on a statewide level. The other thing, the last thing I'll mention, and I'll shut up, is we're trying to plan for speakers that are going to address issues that are most important to our operators. And so the next 2 months, hopefully we'll have somebody that's going to come in and talk about business insurance and insurance for recovery residence operators. The month after that, in July, hopefully we'll have some people come in and talk about how to write a grant request and what type of grant requests, what type of grant programs are out there. A follow-up thought on that is to have somebody from the PIHPs perhaps come and say, here's what we expect from in terms of grant proposals, here's what you'll need to do, here's what the funding is for it, and here's what they're trying to do, to have access to the PIHP, the state people directly, so you can pepper them with questions and say, what about this and what about that, directly with them. I think that's all that I want to bother you folks with today. If you have any questions, ask now, or I'll see you next Thursday in Lansing at the UFAM rally. Catherine?
Sorry. He just spoke briefly about the PIHPs, and it reminded me a couple of them the SUD directors reached out to me recently, and they heard about the program fees, or the operator fees for MARR is actually going up in January. As a reminder for everybody, Kayla sends out some information after each meeting every month, sends it to everybody as well, and has that on there as a reminder. Please make sure that you're making the increase part of your budget. Everyone's going to be at the $500 per home, per address, for 16 beds or less, $20 per bed for each bed over 16. The SUD directors, PHP SUD directors have heard of this, some of them, and so they're actually going to bring it up at their meeting, their monthly meeting, to make sure they're all on the same page. So there's some areas that are actually reimbursing operators for their MARR fees. So I want you to reach out to your PIHP, whoever you have a contract with, and remind them of that. You know, some places are actually getting reimbursed for that. They have lots of money, and they're always trying to figure out where to go with it, what to do with it. That would be a great opportunity to have them reimburse you for your fees. But I also wanted to make sure that you make that part of your budget. So, Kelly, go ahead and introduce yourself, and what do you have to share today?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kelly Erin, and I am the project coordinator for the REPCAT. We're in the process of getting all of our operators onboarded. Nothing necessarily new, just kind of ongoing with the process. We're at about 50% of operators that have joined in the onboarding process, since we have changed the requirement from using the system in its entirety, which was kind of redundant for some who already had an electronic medical record, to the minimum requirement be completing evaluations. We have accomplished our third community of practice meeting a couple weeks ago, and that is going very well. The community of practice is where all of us get together that are working in the system to either meet with Dr. Best, or has Jessica Best, who also works with him at ROI, and have all your questions, concerns, tips and tricks, share what's working and what's not, and see how we can help each other. So I think that that's been a great addition to our progress in supporting all of those that are onboarding. So again, we're still not completely done with everyone. If there's anyone on here that you have not reached out or responded to emails, phone calls, etc., I will put my email address in the chat. And just kind of a reminder, the RECAP system is free of charge. It's been paid for by the state of Michigan for all of our certified operators. In addition to that, each certified address is able to be reimbursed up to $300 to purchase equipment to support the use of RECAP with the clients in the system. We're getting some good feedback from our other operators as far as how they're able to use the system in their home. A couple of them have been able to use some of their outcomes and presentations to their boards. So just as our knowledge base grows and as our database grows, we're just able to become even more beneficial in producing some results as far as getting funding, seeing where areas of needs are, and being able to address them. So again, if there's anyone that I have not been able to touch base with, if we haven't connected, please feel free to reach out. And that's all I got for today.
Any questions for Kelly? If you haven't signed in yet, too, in the chat, please sign in your name and what organization you're representing. So Kelly had mentioned there's reimbursement. It's up to $300 per address for recovery residents per certified address to reimburse for computer tablet reimbursement. So that's going to help your individuals do the RECAP there at your program. Also, as a reminder, the ECHO RCO in Detroit has an individual there that's been hired to go to Region 7, Detroit, Region Wayne County, will go to your home and actually do the RECAP system with your individuals, or they can go there, they'll pick them up and bring them back to ECHO to do the RECAP system. I understand that many of the operators in that area have since then chosen to do it themselves. But if you're dragging your feet, that's not good. It's not about you, it's about the residents and the recovery capital that they can start building and having that assistance. So if you're not getting on board as quickly as you'd like or as we'd like, please remember that this is free. Reach out to ECHO and they can have somebody do this with your residents. And then when you're ready and you're up and running, then that's something they could possibly take back over. Kelly?
Yeah, so it's for Region 7 only. As far as having his name is Paul complete the evaluations with you. But honestly, the minimum requirement is very easy to accomplish. Essentially, making that requirement change has really diminished the amount of time that it's been used. Especially like I said before, because a lot of places are using electronic medical record anyways, so they don't need the client management piece of the system. But it is something that the state has said that we need to get going with all of our certified operators. And again, the expectation has been changed to just completing the evaluations. And I am happy to do a Zoom, which I usually do, as soon as I speak with, whichever organization is starting to onboard, give you a brief tour of the system and show you just how easy and accessible it can be for you and for your clients, essentially.
Okay. Anybody have any questions, comments? Anything they want to talk about RECAP?
I have a question. Yeah, Kelly, do you have a recommendation, or can you share what device people have been using most common or has proven to be the most helpful?
For sure. I spoke with IT at Get Help regarding this, and their suggestion was either an iPad which has seemed to work most effectively, or a Chromebook because the system operates best using Google Chrome. So those are the two recommendations that they made, and I kind of checked around online, and it's very possible to get a decent piece of equipment for $300 or under for sure.
Okay.
Most operators that have turned in the paperwork for reimbursement, they have to turn in their receipts as well. Large majority of them are coming in under $300 per tablet. So it is very doable, and to be reimbursed basically 100% for that. That's huge. But again, once you have them, you want to make sure that they're secured and you know where they're at. Your house manager can be the holder of that or something, but they're not in use. Good question, Preston. Anybody else have any questions for Kelly about RecCap? Concerns? Any hiccups you're running into? You want to talk about and work on as a group? No? Great, okay.
Kelly, can you also touch on the community of practice meeting again, just to remind people of that next the third Wednesday?
Absolutely. So it's on the fourth Wednesday at 3 p.m. And we like to have, while we do have the administrative team included in that, we also include all active users in the invitation. That being said, a lot of times, you know, they're the ones that the peer recovery coaches are the ones on the ground doing the evaluations with the folks. So we want to make sure that they're involved also, so that we can get feedback from them real time about what's happening when they're completing evaluations, how we can help, etc. It's been very informative, and actually I just met with someone earlier this morning. We are kind of working together to create a template to make sure that we're following a process to make it a very cohesive meeting, so that we're not wasting your time, and we're also making sure that we're giving you good information, something to learn each time. So you can look forward to that in a couple weeks.
Is there talk about possibly recording these meetings? Like
Yeah,
we record the operator meetings, that way if you can't make it, you can watch it at a later time.
Yeah, we'll definitely be recording it starting next month. Well, it'll be in a couple weeks, so it'll be this month. And then what I can do is email that out to the people that are not able to make it. But again, it'd be great if you can make it a priority. It's the same day and time each month, the fourth Wednesday, again at 3 o'clock. And it's just a great way to get feedback. It's a great way to Get Help is really responsive to needs of the operators. They say, hey, it'd be a great idea if I could get this information out of the system. I never once heard them say that's not doable. I've heard, let's figure out how we can do that together. So that kind of feedback in the real time, what's going on and what you're going through, what you're seeing in the system, if you're struggling, if you've had some successes, we're really interested in hearing those things. So that we can be continually improving and growing.
If I could give an example of how that actually worked last Wednesday. Chris DeLeon from Building Men for Life during the community practice meeting said, hey, how do I get all of the to-do things easily transferable onto my Google Calendar? And that was asked at 3 o'clock, and at 4 o'clock, Jessica Beth said she was on that, and she would have that the ability to access your RecCap work on a Google Calendar is going to be done within the next month or so. So there's actually some really good positive things that come out of this community of practice. And if you've not been on that, and if you're doing RecCap or you're thinking about doing RecCap, and again, we're not requiring, MARR is not requiring that you put on all the onboarding information to start. We're asking that you at least do the assessment, which that takes 5 minutes of your time to do the assessments. And the community of practice is really an opportunity for you to talk with everybody else on the team about what's working for you and what's not working for you. And more importantly, to be able to access the authors to get more information. For instance, I was trying to drill down on the Middle Eastern Muslim community that's in the Dearborn, Detroit area. And they told me I couldn't put religion on there. As I said, you know, that's a no-no, but they were able to put Middle Eastern down as a category. So we're able to drill down. Here's how recovery is affecting the Middle Eastern group of people that we have in the Dearborn, Detroit area differently than how it's working in the Upper Peninsula or over here on the west side of the state. And so these are all important things. And I would encourage you, if you've not already done that, done the RECCAP program, to get involved with the RECCAP program, get to know Kelly, participate in the monthly community of practice meetings.
Right?
Did you, Kelly, say it was the first Wednesday of the month?
Fourth.
The fourth Wednesday. Okay, I've been
Fourth
writing the
Wednesday, yeah.
third Wednesday in my post-meeting follow-up emails, so I apologize for confusing anybody. It is the fourth Wednesday of every month.
Well, that could be why a lot of people aren't there. They're thinking, they're like, nobody's here. It's not the third Wednesday. It's the fourth.
My God.
All right, Kayla, go ahead and introduce yourself. And do you have any updates?
I'm Kayla King. I am the project manager here at MARR. A lot for me doesn't really change month to month, so I really don't have a ton of updates other than the same things that I kind of like to drill in. Really the main thing that I've been getting flagged, I guess, is your insurance document. So everybody has to submit their insurance every single year. It's an annual part of your certification, but a lot of people have different people submit the insurance, or there's some confusion on what we accept for insurance. We accept one document for insurance. So we don't need 120 pages of your insurance document. It is your certificate of insurance. Every single insurance company has a certificate of insurance. It is one
It's
document.
called the declaration page too.
Yeah, it's the declaration page, but at the top, it says certificate of insurance. So that's where I've gotten confusion too. I've called it the declaration page, and then people didn't know what I was talking about. So yes, declaration page or certificate of insurance. It needs to have MARR listed as additional insured, AKA the certificate holder in the bottom left corner. And every single one of your recovery residences has to be listed on it. If they can't fit on that page, then they'll usually give you one separate page. But it's only those 1 or 2 pages that we accept for your insurance. And I have an example document that I'm going to add to my post-meeting follow-up email that shows you what it looks like. So hopefully we can get kind of more aligned on what insurance, because I know it's frustrating for people to go back and forth, having to resubmit their insurance a couple of times. So I did find an example document, and I'm going to attach it to my follow-up email so everyone knows. And I also made it a little bit clearer in all of your renewals exactly what it is and what we're looking for also. So does anyone have any questions about that or their insurance or anything like that? Okay, that's perfectly fine. Just wanted to give that a shout out for everybody.
I can ask a question, kind of dotted line related to insurance, and it's not to put Jeff on the spot, but
We won't put
Jeff,
Jeff on the spot.
but I remember it might have been a month, it might have been 2 months ago. A topic came up about different kinds of commercial insurance versus general liability. And it was something I brought up that Health West, the Muskegon area, and the state were saying you needed additional. Have you talked to anyone about that, or did anything new come by your desk related to that?
You need commercial general liability insurance. Every recovery resident, certified recovery residences need to be covered under commercial general liability insurance. So if you're a homeowner, you have to have homeowners insurance for those addresses, but you can't show the recovery residence as, like a lease. Some people were using it, well, I'm leasing this home out. You're not. It's a business. You're actually running a recovery residence. So it's important that under your homeowner's policy, you also make sure that all your addresses are listed as commercial general liability businesses. So otherwise, if don't have the correct insurance, you're not going to be covered. Basically, if you end up getting sued, and it's not if, it's going to be when. I mean, because there's always somebody out there that wants to get you. So please make sure you have the correct insurance. Did I answer that for you at all, Preston?
Yeah, I think, what you described is how I originally understood it. I think what they were terming it as is, in addition to what you said, they wanted professional liability insurance. And the dispute is that we don't provide professional services. But the state that was auditing the CMHs that we contract with say, well, no, you need to have professional. And so
I've heard the same
Yeah.
thing. I just
so I
heard
didn't-
this 2 weeks ago, Preston. Yeah,
okay, so sounds like its confusion is still
yeah,
showing its ugly head throughout our industry right now.
yeah. Well, the quick answer to that is they don't know what they're doing. So you got a homeowner's policy, right? And your homeowner's policy, that's not sufficient. You need something in addition to that that covers the risk involved. It's different from a homeowner's policy because you have residents in there that you're providing services for. What has confused the people in Muskegon, I guess, or somebody that's doing their audit, is they think that there's some type of clinical professional licensed activity taking place in the recovery home, as opposed to non-licensed, non-clinical peer recovery assistance. So they required a recovery residence operator that does business in that county to have professional E&O coverage for the activities that a peer recovery coach is doing. The cost of that is going to be significantly higher than the cost to have the professional insurance coverage on that is going to be significantly higher. It's not needed. Whoever made that as a rule doesn't understand what the law of insurance is or what the risks are involved in the policy. So that'd be something that I would, if I were you, Preston, I'd take it up with whoever told you that you needed to have the professional insurance and say MARR doesn't require it.
Yeah.
Show me where it's written. Ask them
Yeah.
that question. Show me where it's written that I need to have professional liability insurance for a peer recovery worker, because they're going to say they make it up at the end of the day.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that you did bring that up though, because there are certified recovery residences that provide outpatient services at their recovery residence. So in that case, you'd be a level 4 under the MARR standards. And if you're a level 4 and you have professional individuals performing outpatient services on site, then you have to have a LARA license for that address. So in cases like that particular address where you're providing those services and you have sober living beds, you do have to have professional liability under that for that particular address.
Yeah, and that's probably the distinction. I might have to, what you just said, I might have to repeat to them so that they can have that distinction of, yes, in some cases you're right, in other cases, no, you're wrong. And then maybe that can get the ball rolling of actually getting clarification.
Yeah, if you can set it up, Preston, if you can set up a Zoom call or something with them, I'd be happy to participate in that call, because it's spreading like a disease and I don't want that. I want to kill it early.
Yeah, I'll put that on my list for summer and fall.
Big thing, yeah, your big list of things to do.
But of course, I better first make sure I pass my recertification with Catherine. Then I
Okay.
can work
Yes.
on fighting the other giants out there.
But of course, you're gonna pass because you've been a certified operator for years. And as certified operators, the expectation is you know what to do, right? So when I
I
go
love
to,
it. I love the opposite. I love the positivity.
there you go. So when I go to the home, they'll be perfect and there shouldn't be anything for me to write down, right? So in a perfect world. So, I wanted to let everyone know the operator of the month is New Paths Recovery. Is Erin on here?
He sure is.
Erin with New Paths? Here she is.
I'm here. Hi, thank you.
Hi. Yes, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your program.
All right. Well, thank you for the recognition. That's always an honor. I'm also sitting here with Demetrius Keener, who is our safety coordinator, supervisor, whatever, guru of all safety for me. I'm actually the clinical director of New Paths, and we're located in Flint, Michigan. We're part of Region 10 PIHP. And New Paths is a very large treatment center in this county. And we provide full wraparound services, except for detox, but we are unique because we have a sobering facility, which allows individuals to come in as kind of that first step, that first intervention, seeking services, whether they came on their own or referred by the hospitals or law enforcement. So it gets them like their foot in the door. They have to be stable enough to come in, but we help link and coordinate whatever treatment looks like, peer recovery coaching, residential treatment, all the way to recovery housing, or to even other providers in the community or other regions even. And that's where like the door starts for people coming into treatment here at New Paths. And we're very lucky to have that resource here in Genesee County, and people come from all over. I mean, we have people show up from Arizona, all over the place. So, but once they complete those various levels of care, majority of the clients coming in, whether they're coming in through Michigan Department of Corrections, voluntarily on their own, through hospital settings, majority of them do not have safe supportive housing to support their recovery. And I know I'm not speaking to the choir on this. I'm sure everybody has those same experiences. Flint is one of the highest areas of unhoused population in the state of Michigan. We are dealing with a major housing crisis here, and along with, I know, other parts of the state and the country as well. So, we have a lot of people who are dependent on our recovery house program. And we're pretty blessed here in regards to our Region 10 PIHP. They will authorize for up to 365 days. Of course, during COVID and even prior to, we were able to get extensions for individual in our housing program. So about 95% of our funding for recovery housing comes through the Region 10 PIHP. We probably have about 5% that are self-pay clients. We're getting more and more self-paid individuals because their year is expiring. They do not have housing set up in regards to affordable housing, because renters here in Genesee County in the Flint area have skyrocketed their rent. They may have legal charges that are prohibiting them from being able to move into certain types of residencies, and some are waiting for Section 8 approval. So we offer them the normal rate that we would get reimbursed from our PIHP to stay here and continue their living and working on their recovery and sobriety. We've been in the recovery house business since 2005. New Paths was one of the first ones here in the county to offer these supportive services. And, I was asking, we call him Keener, even though his first name is Demetrius, but we say Keener. I'm like, how would you describe our recovery housing? And he's like, it's really a community. And it really is. Our clients treat it as a community. They look at it as a community. They never want to leave. I don't know if any of you have that problem with your houses. They don't want to leave. And sometimes we have to be like, fly out of the nest. It's okay, you can do it. But we have 6 properties. We had the privilege of showing Catherine and Desiree our properties last month. So Mr. Keener will be sending over our corrections next month, or not next month, I'm sorry, tomorrow. I don't even know what month it is right now, tomorrow. But we have 6 homes, 3 for females, 3 for males. One of ours is, we're an old hospital. We're the old Flint General Hospital, and our whole first level of our building is recovery housing. Our biggest deficit is its institutional feeling, because it was institutional. It was a hospital. And then it was, then we were housing Michigan Department of Corrections individuals here. So we're working really hard at trying to make it more recovery friendly and inviting and warm and welcoming. And we're trying. So we're still working on that, but that unit alone can house up to 60 people. So that's, you know, it's a huge gap that we are filling here in Genesee County. And if New Pass did not have this service, it would be really disheartening and really affect Genesee County negatively by us not having that program here. And it's amazing even for our community corrections clients who come in. I can't wait to my 90th day. I'm out of here. I'm never talking to New Pass again. And then it's, can I get into recovery housing? We really like it here. You feed us. And we have a roof over our head. And everyone seems to care. And we really do. We have a whole team of people who work with our residents here. So they have a care coordinator. We have house monitors. We have therapists, peer recovery coaches. I mean, it's truly a whole team effort. And I know we're unique because we are a treatment center versus like just a standalone home. We truly offer that care to our clients, and we hope to continue it for many, many years going forward. We're always getting propositioned by the community for what we're going to do next. What housing can we provide next? Where can we go next? We have just purchased some more properties, so we'll see what we're going to do there. But I love the MARR standards. I love the social model of recovery. I've appreciated all the support and guidance that we get with MARR, and just honored to be recognized as Operator of the Month. So thank you.
Thank you.
You
One
definitely
thing that
deserve it.
stands out, one thing that's stood out to me, because I saw her homes for the first time last month. It was the hospital location. It's very clinical, you know, which we like to try to get away from that. We want to be more home-like. And what she had shared with me and what I saw was the floor that actually still houses individuals as in a recovery residence. They transition from treatment into the recovery residence, but they're still in that environment, supportive environment that's staffed 24 hours. They do provide meals and stuff, which is really huge for people in a recovery residence, because then the money that they get from their jobs, they're not spending it all on groceries. They can, but that's money that they can put aside or pay off other debt with. And the individuals that they have in that setting are individuals that have more mental health issues as well, that need a higher level of care and monitoring, because quite often we see individuals like that fall through the cracks. They go into a regular recovery residence. Maybe their mental health issues are a little bit more than, you know, what the recovery residents can actually handle or work with. So sometimes they just don't succeed. But for an individual to be in that kind of setting, and still have the freedom to get to their meetings and go find employment and, you know, have their community stuff, but still have somebody like nursing and stuff overseeing their mental health issues was very nice to see. And I had never seen that before. So that's one thing that really stood out to me with your program. So is there any questions anyone has for Erin? Oh, and that's another thing, that Flint area, Region 10, is the only area I'm aware of that has a full year of funding. And I think it's going to go down to 6 months, but still, come on. that's
Don't say that.
That's a lot. Well, that's a lot.
I know.
Funding. You know, most places it's 2 months or 3
Yeah.
months, and unfortunately, what I don't like to hear is like, okay, your 3 months is done, you got to move. You know, there should be an opportunity for individuals to be able to remain in that environment for at least 6 months to a year, or you should have some kind of gentle handoff to another recovery residence where they can stay for 6 months to a year. It takes time. they can't just go there for 3 months and you expect them
Mm.
to like make it on their own, you know, it can be very challenging. So the fact that they offer that long-term, I don't think the money per bed day is
Right. We
that
talked about
much.
that.
Yeah,
Right,
it's less, but
yeah,
it's
What's
your
extended a
daily
lot
rate?
longer.
yeah,
Was my question.
What's your date? Was it like 14, 15?
yeah, yeah. It was only like
$1
14 or
bed
15
day.
a person per day. But because we're able to offer the full continuum of care, when it comes to outpatient or intensive outpatient, peer recovery coach services, healthcare management, OHH, we're also an OHH now, opioid health home. And we also offer medication assisted treatment for opioid and alcohol use disorder. And we will be starting co-occurring services here at the end of May. So where Catherine talked about the mental health, we'll be also able to treat their mild to moderate mental health services here right on site too. So there's a lot that we're able to offer, although our housing reimbursement rate isn't as high as we think it should be or what it costs to live. You know, I think it comes out to like just under 400 a month or something around there. I mean, like we said, we feed everybody and we store their medications and they have heat and electricity and TV and cable and snacks and there's a lot. I don't know if I would move out either. I'm like, I want to move to new. When I get mad at my husband, I'm like, I'm going to recovery house. But one of the things that Region 10 also does, I don't know if anyone else on the call is a home in Region 10, but they do offer the reimbursement, how they were sharing earlier. So for the operator cost, as soon as we get our letter from MARR that we're certified, I'll submit that to the PHP and they'll reimburse us for all of our houses. And so if you are in the Region 10 PHP, just reach out to Cindy Eckert. And that's who I reach out to, and they're like, sure, I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask. And so yeah,
Right.
and
Exactly.
yeah,
If you don't
and
ask, you're not going to know.
exactly. And Catherine did see that we have a lot of people with co-occurring, a lot of people, and we have so many gaps in our CMH system here in Genesee County, which I'm sure other counties do too. We know this is a crisis across the country, and we are that organization that has a really hard time saying no. And we want to be able to help people. We want to be able, because we're also here to support the community. And if people are out on the streets with untreated mental health, untreated substance use disorders, we know what they're more reluctant to do. Not only are they unhoused, but they're also more likely to commit crimes, hurt themselves, hurt other people. And part of our due diligence at New Path is to also, be a protector of the community as well, and be able to offer these individuals the opportunity to change their lives. I think that's even in our mission statement. And that's just what we want to do. And I think we've worked really hard because New Path was primarily corrections for decades. And until about 12 years ago, 13 years ago, we became, fully treatment center. And I remember when I came on board, I said, you're either going to change with us or you're going to have to go. And, we went through a staff evolution, and we have complete buy-in from our staff, from security to reception, to therapists, to clinicians, to the kitchen, even the quality of the food we serve. I mean, you have to have buy-in across the whole organization to care for the people that we do. So I love it. I love being here and being able to offer what we do, and happy to meet all of you. I didn't even know about this meeting, and I messaged Catherine, said so. I messaged Kayla, am I supposed to be on a meeting?
Felt so bad. I'm so sorry about that.
So thank you. We're happy to be here and learn. So thank you.
So
Any
your
questions?
organization, is it the recovery coaches that kind of do most of the lifting, or is most of their task related to the day-to-day maintain the culture and the norms, or is that a different group of people?
Yeah, our peer coaches play a very active role. We have house managers at our facilities, but they respond to the peer recovery coaches because we have to do a peer recovery coach group every day. And so that's led by the coach. And the peers are the ones who bring the topics, but the coach has to be there to initiate it. When Mr. Keener finds something wrong with the home, he will try to get to the residents directly. But if we can't, we leave, we'll email the coach, hey, so-and-so has this going on, can you please direct them? So our peers play a very active role with the residents who live in the houses.
And on a 60 bed location, how many coaches do you find is most ideal?
Well, we have currently 100 recovery house residents between our 6 facilities,
Oh, okay.
and we have 25 peer recovery coaches.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and they each play they have different roles. So I would say the majority, well, I think we have 12 or 13 who are directly involved with just recovery house services, because we have coaches assigned to residential services, our sober house, our corrections population, the jail, because we're also in the jail. And then we have community outreach and hospital-based peer recovery coach services too. So I'd say we probably have 13 to 15 direct recovery house led coaches, I guess, or coaches responsible for that. So for about 100 residents, they each have about 10 to 15 residents on their, we call it caseload from the clinical terms,
Okay.
but who monitor that. That's our typical, and we have females work with the females and males work with the males. For many reasons. Therapy wise, it's a little different, but with our peer coaches, they're typically gender based, unless there's an absolute preference for something. But yeah, and they have offices set up in the houses as well. And so, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
So thank
Nice.
you.
Anybody else have any questions for Erin?
It will be at UFAM, so I'll send our residents over to
Yay.
your table.
Great.
I have
Great,
one
thank
last
you.
question. How do you pay the bills? For only $14.50 a bed night, and you're providing all of those services.
With all the other services.
Yeah,
Treatment, the money from treatment, right?
Yeah, we get money from treatment. Yeah. So that's what pays the bills. So we have, like I said, everyone who's in our recovery house program has to be in a level of treatment. So they could be in a day treatment, an intensive outpatient, or an outpatient level of care. So we get reimbursed for all those services, individual and group therapy, peer recovery coach services. They're involved. We have them involved in quite a gamut of care. So that's what pays our bills.
and you have, just so everybody on the audience knows, you'll need a clinician to be involved
Yeah.
with that, right? So anybody that's running a level 2 or 3, if you don't have a clinician, you don't have access to that level of funding.
Right. I would imagine like there's a couple in our community and they refer to us or another provider for at least outpatient level of care. So
Yeah.
that's what pays the bills.
Okay.
So as much as the two butt heads sometimes, our peer coaches and therapists, they need each other. So they all need each other.
Well, thank you for everything you do. Thank you for everything you do in the community. I was very impressed with your program and with you and with your staff that I met, and I'm glad you're a certified operator. Thank you for sharing that today.
Yeah.
All right. One thing I wanted to share with everybody too is last month I completed a site review for a new operator, Kelsey's house. And one thing I noticed, is there anyone here from Kelsey's house?
She wasn't able
Haley
to
here?
be on today, so I
Okay.
don't think she's here.
I thought she could share it with everybody. One thing I have not noticed, not to say that people aren't using it in their recovery homes, but one thing that I noticed at Kelsey's house is they have QR codes all over the place. They have things posted, like they have their grievance posted, but there's a QR code right on the grievance, and the people can look at the QR code and get that on their phone, and a grievance form can pop up. And also they can actually file a grievance, and they can do that with recipient rights. And they got a QR code for, they have their community resources posted on the wall, but they also have a QR code on there. So the individual can click on the QR code and have it all show up on their phone. And the best thing that I thought was amazing, they have a QR code for paying program fees, which I thought was amazing. And I'm like, I've never seen that before. So many operators, you have to go and basically hunt the people down sometimes to collect the check or money order or however you're collecting their fees. This way, no matter what home they're at, wherever they're at, they have that QR code and they can pay through Venmo their program fees every week or every month. I thought that was amazing. And I thought that would really probably be very nice and good information for you guys to consider as well. So individuals for all your homes, just have a QR code for people to pay their program fees on time. You don't have to worry about handling any money, and it automatically goes into the Venmo. And I just thought that was
The one thing too is that
really
it's so
smart
incredibly
idea.
simple, because if you set up a Venmo or a PayPal for your program, they automatically provide a QR code for you. Literally, all you have to do is print it off, and anyone that scans that can send money directly to you that way. And for a lot of ways, that's also easier for the residents. If they just have that, some people don't have cash, or some people want to put off like paying for whatever reason. But if you say, hey, the QR code's right there, they can send money to you in seconds. Like, they really don't have a reason to push it off. So
Right.
it's super easy, and it's a great way to keep track of people because their name and the amount is exactly right there. You don't have to write anything down. You can just print that off from your Venmo or PayPal statement every month, and it's easy peasy. So I know there's
Is anybody else?
but the
Is
convenience.
anybody else using this kind of system? Or you have a good system you'd like to share? Go ahead,
I know
Rachel.
that
Oh,
I know that Recovery Road, we've been playing around with Venmo, and yeah, I have a QR code that I give to people when they want to set it up to do it that way.
nice.
Yeah, and I've had success. I haven't fully implemented it, but I have a couple people that wish to do it that way. So yeah, it does work out very well. It's easy to get onto the Venmo.com. You can download a report right into Excel. And so yeah, it does have a lot of good perks that makes it easier. But to truly get everything fully set up, Venmo does want you to kind of set up a business profile versus using it as friends or as family members, which then draws into possible service fees to manage that at a business level. So yeah, there's a little investigating to be done, but yeah, I like it.
I'll have Haley talk next month at the operator meeting because I had
Hillary.
asked her about the fees. Did I say the name wrong, Kayla?
Haley. It's Hillary.
Haley. Because I believe she said that the way the residents are actually paying through that, they don't get charged fees. So it's whatever they're putting. I don't know if they're paying and they're just putting program fees or what exactly they're putting in there, but they're my understanding was that they're not getting charged fees for that, for using the Venmo app like that. So we'll have her talk more about that next month. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share? We got a few minutes left. Anything going on with your program? Any questions you want to talk about?
I have a question.
Okay.
I'm out in Port Huron, and I got a special permit that I have to pay for each house through the city. Now, a special use permit, and they have also are going to put me in front of a zoning board, and they've sent out letters within 300 feet of each house. I'm guessing to make sure that people are okay with those houses being there. I was just kind of questioning if this has happened to other people, or, I mean, they're a little tight. That I don't know if you guys have heard, but the city ordinance there is pretty rough.
What city
So-
again, Sean?
That's in Port Huron.
Port Huron, but you took over another operator's homes. So
I
those
did,
homes
but
have been there.
they're
Those homes
using
have
us.
been there. It's nothing new, right?
Mm-hmm. But they're using us as a new business, so they're having us do a whole new special permit. They're running out new letters to all the residents around these homes. I'm just wondering if there's anything that they can actually do. So if somebody comes and complains, does that mean that they can shut us down, or?
My
Yeah.
suggestion is that you talk to a lawyer.
I have not got that far yet. I
Yeah,
thought I'd
well,
bring it to here, and
My suggestion is that you talk to a lawyer anytime. Yesterday would be good.
okay.
I don't know anybody in Port Huron, Robin Wagner, who spoke at the MARR Best Practices Conference in October, is a plaintiff civil rights lawyer. She's a trial lawyer. She's in the, just look in the bar journal, Michigan Bar Journal for Robin Wagner.
Okay.
I'll get that contact information. She is the trial lawyer. You might also want to start with any local lawyer who knows the people on the planning commission and on the city council and that has some background in real estate. Because what's happening is you got the intersection of zoning law, which is all municipal state, versus federal law, which supersedes the state zoning law. But you have to, the federal law is known as the Federal Fair Housing Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act. And so you got a federal law interface over existing state law. And furthermore, you're probably going, and I used to be a city and township attorney 25 years ago in Michigan. So you're going to have issues with maybe dealing with people who don't understand and might not have ever heard of, here's the federal law, here's the ADA, what's a recovery residence. So start off with talking to a lawyer. Talk to somebody that's politically connected. And then the education portion of it is something that if you want to go on the MARR website, our website, there's some information in there about here's how you deal with a request for a reasonable accommodation. Have you made a request for a reasonable accommodation?
No, I wanted to try to keep as cordial with them as possible. We do have a
They
pretty
asking you
good,
to fill out something for a special use permit?
they are, and actually they wanted, like I said, I had to pay 400 a house for the permit application, so.
Yeah, I would talk to a local lawyer, but
Okay.
the lawyer may say something along the lines of file a request for reasonable accommodation.
Okay.
And their special use permit or their variance permit is really something unless they're more sophisticated than they probably are. They may not have included any provision for how the procedure deals with in the city of Port Huron for a reasonable accommodation. So that would tie you back into, you probably want to go talk to Robin Wagner, she's in Detroit, so she's in North Detroit somewhere.
Okay.
Great question. Great question.
Thank you.
So feel free to reach out to Jeff too if you have other questions. Yeah, feel free, and then I'm sure Jeff would talk to you a little bit more if you needed him.
Yeah, my background is real estate law, and I used to be a city attorney and a township attorney and a county attorney, so I know enough about it to be dangerous. But I know some of the people that can make life interesting for the city attorneys in the world. So I would start off with talk to Robin, figure out what's happening there, then talk to Robin Wagner.
I appreciate it, and I'll definitely reach out.
Yeah. Good
Thank
luck with that.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, I know we had a couple of questions that fell off. Did
Okay.
Did either Rachel or Chris want to ask their question really quick before we leave? Or are you
Rachel.
guys good?
I wanted to add a couple, just something on the making the payments through Venmo. What I've noticed with some of our clients, because we do have the Venmo option that was set up by our admin department.
Nice.
So what I am trying to, what's making things, well, we do have some clients who have never actually even had a bank account or gone through the steps of opening one up. So it's opening up an opportunity to sit down and open up a bank account for them, which is beneficial when they do start the employment after the initial 4-week period, when that becomes a requirement. And then what I'm tossing around right now is then on top of, in addition to the physical invoices, being able to deliver those electronically and including that QR code, which just makes it all that much easier for the clients from the home. Otherwise, they need to come up to the office and make those payments. We try not to handle any cash at the homes or any, you know, them handing us just straight up cash. We want to encourage them to open up those bank accounts. So I kind of use that as a segue into that. And it's been very beneficial. The Venmo, I've noticed the amount of payments and the amount of clients who right after they get those invoices making those payments have increased. So I
Nice.
think it's, yeah. I also just wanted to add, I forwarded the link for this meeting over to my newest colleague, Adam S. He's signed in. I just wanted to see if we can maybe get him added to the email list, because I would, you know, look forward to him participating in those meetings as well.
Yeah, definitely. Can you email me his full name and email address, and then I'll get him added.
Sure. Cool. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Chris, you had a question?
I know
No,
it's over time, so if anyone has to drop off, that's
I
okay.
don't.
Oh,
I really
okay.
don't. Jeff said everything.
Ah.
The only thing I would add, Sean, is just if you can get heavy involved in the community and get as much people to support you for those hearings as you attend them. I went through that early on, and the more support you got from the neighborhood association and other community officials and organizations, it helps when you walk in those special use permit hearings.
Drug
That's all.
court,
Good idea.
hospital, ER,
Yep.
ministers, people of faith, neighborhood associations.
There's
It's all
town
meant-
halls, community town halls, let them know who you are and what you do, and yeah.
Yeah, and I've seen it, Petoskey work really well, where they had like, here's an open house for all of the commissioners or people to come down and see, here's what's actually going on in a recovery residence. So yeah, the public education portion is sometimes can make all the difference. You could be legally right and dealing particularly with city officials, they don't necessarily see that they've got a dog in the fight, because if they vote against you, that doesn't mean anything to them, other than they might not get reelected. So you have to educate not only them, but also the population, so that you don't have 99 people against you and only the one person there saying, hey, I like this. You want to have it exactly the opposite. You want to have somebody go up there and say, hey, these people helped me change my life.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Well, we're out of time. We're over time, but I wanted to wish all the mothers a happy Mother's Day. This Sunday, the 12th, is Mother's Day. Also remember that if you run women's homes, that's a very difficult time for a lot of your residents that maybe they don't have their children, maybe they lost their children. So just to keep that in mind as well with your residents, and stay safe, and hopefully we'll see y'all next week at the UPenn rally.
See you then.
Bye, everyone.